Today's video may feature some crackly audio because your boy left the microphone on the wrong settings the whole entire day. Prep is prepping, but stick around people because it is a good video. What is good, people? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I hope you're having a beautiful morning, afternoon, day, whatever time of the day it is for you. It is currently morning here, and we're going to take you through a day in the life on prep at 3 weeks out. I cannot believe how quickly time is actually flying by right now. And that's why I'm trying to record these videos, because number one, I think it's pretty good for you guys to watch through if you're looking to compete yourself. You want to see what the process is all about, how everyone's managed, just thoughts and feels. But as well as that, for me to look back on, this is always pretty nice, because in my last prep, I was not present. It just absolutely flew by, and honestly, I don't remember a lot of it, right? So this is going to be a great opportunity for both me and you as well. But anyway, as of this morning, or the last few days, we've seen some new low weigh-ins roll in, which I'm not mad about. We're 75.3 at our absolute lightest, but this morning we're 75.9. And seen a nice shift in the visuals as well, just because the last 2 days we did actually run a bit of a refeed. So I mentioned this in my previous video that I was going to be doing that. Brought down steps like 8,000, pulled out cardio for a couple of days, and then we just added in around 400 grams of carbs for 2 days. So not a lot of food by any means. It definitely did not touch the sides. Like, I absolutely incinerated those calories, but it was nice, and we've seen a nice little response in the physique as well. So typically for me, whenever we're digging hard for fat loss, like, I don't look quite as lean, just because, again, film of water, not looking as full, and then as soon as we add that food back in, my body just becomes responsive again, and the look comes to life. So yeah, I think that's what we've seen over the last couple of days. We're getting back into some fat loss. It is needed because, again, time is ticking, and I don't want to be showing up on stage out of shape. I've competed enough times now that I don't really have any excuses not to be in shape on stage, So we've got to make that happen. So yeah, food has gone back down to normal today, which is around 2,240 calories on a training day, and then 2,090 on a rest day. And yeah, going back to normal cardio, normal steps, 12,000 steps, 6 lots of half-an-hour cardio, aside from on the leg day. And today is actually leg day, so we're going to be taking to the gym. We've also made adjustments to that leg day as well, which I'll take you guys through later on. But yeah, overall, feeling good. My arm is burning, so I'm going to change arms just like that, because Jesus, my delts are on fire. Feeling very, very good. Just excited, man. I said this in an Instagram post this morning, like, one thing that I've noticed this prep in comparison to previous is just how present I feel. I don't know if it's possible to stay present all the time, but I'm a lot more appreciative of everything that's going on right now, how I'm feeling, obviously how I'm looking, but also just like what I have, like a very supportive girlfriend around me. I've got the luxury of being able to help guys all around the world push their limits and, achieve their results and their goals and realize their potential, I guess you could say. And in doing that, I've allowed myself to have this routine and this lifestyle that I can do a competition prep and almost mold it perfectly to how I want it to be. And these are the things that I didn't really think of in the past, but now I'm a lot more appreciative of them, because I think I'm just a lot more relaxed in this prep. And because I'm more relaxed, that's helped with my sleep, it's helped with recovery, that's helped with training performance, and all those things as like a downstream effect has just really allowed my physique to look the best it's ever looked at this point in prep versus previous. I'm still like 6 kilos above what I was in my previous prep, or even more than that. I think it's about 7 kilos heavier than what I was on stage. Yes, there's a lot more condition to go to get down to that point, but at the same time, there's not 7 kilos to go. There's probably like maybe 2.5, 3 kgs at the maximum for me to look at my best. So I'll still be like 4 kilos up, which is absolutely crazy to me, So yeah, honestly, just extremely, extremely excited to enjoy this process, get on stage, because yes, I got some good results in my last season, but the journey to get there was terrible, like absolutely terrible. And it's the process that's the enjoyable part, not necessarily just the result. People often talk about like training and nutrition and whatnot as being like the main progressors of their physique. And yeah, like, don't get me wrong, on a day-to-day basis, like, some of those things are going to be have the biggest impact on your, muscle gain or your fat loss. But for me, the biggest game changer of this prep has been just awareness. like awareness of my mind, awareness of my emotions, awareness of my body as well. And like a mantra, or like I sound like I'm getting deep now, like a saying that I used to say to myself over and over and over again in the last prep, and don't get me wrong, it worked for a short period of time, was it takes what it takes, right? Because I'd like never won a show before. I'd grown up not really liking sports because I hated being bad at things, like being judged by others, and therefore I didn't get into any sports. And then eventually found bodybuilding and competing. I was like, oh, I actually enjoy this and I actually think I'm actually pretty good at it. And then competed in 2 seasons, never won a show. Got close, but never won a show. And I was like, well, clearly I'm not doing something right. And I just thought that was just effort. So in my last prep, 2023, the saying, the thing that I repeated in my head all the time was, it takes what it takes. It takes what it takes. And with that, pushed myself, drove myself into the ground, like ignored what my body was saying to me, ignored what my emotional well-being and my head was saying to me, and it worked for a short period of time until it didn't. And when it didn't work, it was a pretty awful time, let's just say that. So I've now flipped that in this prep, and what I'm saying to myself is it takes what it requires. You know, rather than just blindly moving forward and ignoring what your body needs and what my mindset needs, like it takes what it requires at the end of the day, and anything to an extreme is always going to bite you in the ass. So don't get me wrong, we're pushing it. I'm pushing myself. I'm challenging myself. It's been challenging. It's been hard, and it will continue to get harder as well. But with that, it's just not being blind. It's not being worried about pulling back. I wouldn't have that if it hadn't been for that previous season in 2023. So in a way, I'm kind of grateful for it. But one thing that's also really helped me in this prep, and I think it's important that more people talk about it, is therapy. Like throughout this whole process of doing this competition prep, managing my clients, and it's been busy, you know, recording YouTube videos, doing Instagram content, whatever else. But therapy is a fantastic way for you to increase your emotional awareness. What makes you tick? What makes your brain work the way it works? And there's going to be some things about yourself that, you know, you do struggle with, but ultimately you can come up with tools and different, I guess you could say, approaches to manage that. But also just having that time and like forcing yourself to take that time to slow down and reflect and speak to someone and listen to what is going on in your mind right now is a great way to reduce stress. And guess what stress reduction is also good for? Bodybuilding, right? Physique development, recovery, building muscle, retaining muscle, losing fat. So yeah, as much as training and nutrition and whatnot is important, honestly, one of the biggest, most important things that I've done this year is just this, learning more about my mindset, what my body and my mind needs truly to perform at my very best. Oh yeah, look at that. But yeah, now we're going to finish off this walk and then we'll get back and have breakfast, and then we're going to be heading out to the gym very shortly to go and train legs. Right, people, meal number 1, we have got the infamous protein oats, as you can see right there, and I'm very much looking forward to this. It is now 11:45, so we fasted a little bit. We have 2 meals in before we train, and then we're going to head to the gym. But yeah, this meal yesterday was amazing just because we actually had banana in there, we had honey in there, there was more oats, you know, 10 grams extra oats. It was a beautiful meal, but it's now back down to our usual baseline. This one's around 600 calories, got 70 grams of oats, 50 grams of blueberries. We've then got 5 grams of peanut butter, 5 grams of dark chocolate, almond milk, and of course, we have got some cinnamon and cereal. Cinnamon and cereal, we've got cinnamon and salt. There we go. We're also measuring out our salt now. This is something that I've always been consistent with the amount of salt that I use, but as we're now veering closer towards, you know, peaking processes, actually getting on stage, we want as many of our variables to be as consistent as they can. So with this one here, we have got 3 grams of pink salt, and we've also got 3 grams of low salt. I'd usually have 6 grams of pink salt, but in one of my meals, which is the, which I'll show you in a bit, it's like the chicken Korean mince, there's about 3 grams of salt in that anyway, purely just from the soy sauce. What we do is we just spread this evenly across our meals, because things such as water intake and salt intake are going to have an effect on your physique, how it looks, but also your scale weight. So if we can keep our water consistent every single day at around 6 liters right now, and then also salt consistent every single day, it just means that those variables remain consistent. Meal number 1, gonna get this in, And then we've got a little bit of work to do before we get a pre-workout meal in and then head to the gym. We're gonna be going to a different gym today. Going to be going to S20 Health and Fitness, which is going to be a nice little change up. So I'll show you guys when we get there. You might also be thinking to yourself, Tom, why are you wearing such a tight t-shirt? And that is a very good question, because this is the new, I say new, the returning and the much demanded tribal seamless range from VQ. And to be honest with you, it wouldn't be my usual go-to of like what I'd wear. But as soon as I put this on, I was like, it actually doesn't look that bad. Like, you know, I usually wear like an oversized top. I love the design, I love the color, it's sick, but just the fit of it, I was like, it's been a long time since I've worn something like this. Like, I used to wear this kind of stuff way back when, probably before you was even born, and like Ziz era. And as soon as I put this on, I was like, I want to go rip a deadlift, I want to go rip a bench press, I want to go rip a squat. But we're not going to do that because we're 3 weeks out. We've also got a few other designs as well. So we've got the tank, sleeveless tank as well. It's got like a bit of like an ombre as well with the VQ logo across there. Another sleeveless tank there, but in the black version, which I think is super sick. It's got like the gray details on there. This is a large, but look how stretchy it is. If you guys want to grab anything from the new Tribal Seamless range, you can use code TOM at the checkout. If you want to grab anything from ESN, code TOM at the checkout. Right, people, meal number 2, dos. We've also got some water that we've been sipping on throughout the morning. We're like 2.5 liters in right now, I think it is. So yeah, do not neglect your water. You need water if you want to perform to your best. You can eat all the food you want, but if you are dehydrated, then your muscle isn't going to get full. It's as simple as that. If you watch my YouTube channel, you will know that meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4, intra-workout, it's all the same. It's pretty boring, but yeah, we've got the Korean mince with vegetables and long grain rice. If you've never seen it before, then there you go. Okay, pre-workout meal right here. Extremely hot, so we're gonna let that cool down. And whilst it cools down, I'm gonna talk to you about Matt, who is getting on stage for the first time in 2 years next week, which I'm very, very excited for. Over 2 years, because he actually competed in novice shows last time he competed, versus now, he's no longer a novice because he's too good. So he's actually going to be going into some open shows this year. And I'm actually going to be competing at some of the same shows as Matt, which is a new experience for me because I've never competed at the same shows as a client. But at the same time, I think it's going to be pretty damn cool. You know, if, say, for instance, he beats me, then we've both won, ultimately, because I'm his coach and he's my client. If I beat him, then I kind of feel bad about that. But at the same time, that's bodybuilding. And I'm sure if he wanted to get beat by anyone, he'd probably want to get beaten by me, if that makes sense. So yeah, looking forward to that. But ultimately, his season so far has been miles better than what it was previously. Maybe I'll put up some photos of him, how he looked at his best in his previous season versus how he's looking like right now. He's actually a little bit heavier now than what he was in his previous season at his peak, but he's also a lot leaner now as well. More muscle, bigger arms. We spent the off season 2 years of growing, just purely trying to bring up the areas of physique that needed bringing up, such as his upper chest, such as his arms, and we've really managed to do the trick there, which is exciting to see. But the absolute game changer with Matt's progress over this past year, you know, it's early days, he hasn't got on stage yet, right? But I know for sure his physique has already improved, and that's purely come down as a result of preparation. Like when me and Matt started working together, we didn't have too long until we essentially started prep. Like I had a little bit of time to lay the foundations for a good prep, but the reason why that prep could have been even better was down to time and preparation, versus this time round, we've managed to do an off season, we've managed to push his food up, we've managed to really knuckle down with the quality of his training and the intensity of his training as well. We've got plenty of time that we've laid out. We've also made sure that his body fat wasn't too high. And I'll always say it, the success of your dieting phase, the success of your prep is often dictated by your starting position, both in terms of, you know, your consistency, your adherence, your training, your nutrition, but also the physique start point as well. If you've got loads and loads and loads of body fat to lose, it's going to make the whole process a lot harder. So if you are someone out there that is wanting to get into some pretty silly shape, whether that's for a competition, photo shoot, or even just going on holiday, right? If you want to just challenge yourself, give yourself time, be prepared. The success of your dieting phase often starts before the diet has even started. But yeah, excited for Matt. Matt, if you're watching this, let's do a job, mate. But other than that, gonna get this meal in now, and then we're gonna head to the gym I'm going to take you through some of my leg session today. What is good, people? Tom from the future here editing this video, and I've realized that I've ruined the audio for today's video. That's why it sounds super crackly and horrible. And then also when I was in the gym recording this video, as I was speaking, you couldn't hear anything. So I do apologize about that. But anyway, today's leg session, right? We got in with my online boy, Luke, one of my clients, because he was also on a D-volume leg session and in the gym at the same time. So we kind of just hopped in together here, as you can see. But yeah, the goal now going forward for leg days is not to full send it, right? We don't want to be using a lot of our energy, recoverability for the legs when we are men's physique. A little bit of a different story if you were, say, for instance, doing classic or bodybuilding or whatever, right? So yeah, as you can see here, still pushing the intensity, but we're leaving about 1 to 2 reps in reserve. And again, 1 set per exercise. This is going to allow us to maintain muscularity and tissue in the legs, but at the same time, make sure that we're not absolutely battered for the following days. And don't get me wrong, like, I want to train hard, and I do train hard, but it's all just, you know, a little bit more tactical now, especially as we're getting leaner, food is getting lower, and recoverability is going to drop off. But yeah, with a lot of movements, really just taking my time with it. You know, you can get a lot out of little in the gym. A lot of people load up stupid amounts of weight on a lot of movements, and they wonder why, you know, yes, they can lift a lot, but they don't have a lot of muscle tissue. And oftentimes it's because you're not stimulating the muscle anywhere near as effectively as what you can do. So that's why here, not lifting any stupid weight. Also doing the pendulum squat for the first time in months, just because they have the Atlantis pendulum and it's beautiful. So I jumped on it. And we've also got the, I believe it's the Rogers hip press. Very, very nice machine. First time I've used it, I did actually have to pop a little block underneath me, as you can see there, a little foam block, just to kind of pop my hips up a little bit, because the normal seat felt like it was in the wrong position or a bit too low down. Just wasn't very nice. But yeah, definitely felt a lot better with that block underneath there. And it was a very nice machine, it must be said. And then final movement, we have got the hip abductor. Not usually one that I would actually do, but it was in Luke's program, so I was just like, why the hell not? Let's go for it. But even with movements like this, you don't need a crazy, stupid amount of weight. Like, admittedly, the Nautilus machine is quite light, so we have actually got a pin extender on there. But what I'm just explaining right there is that you don't need a lot of weight when it comes to movements such as like a hip abductor, because you're training a small muscle group, right? You just want to be accurate and take your time with them and get the most out of them. And then yeah, we just got a little bit of a physique update here as well. Obviously this was at 3 weeks out. I am now about a kilogram lighter than what I am here, because we are digging a little bit more, which I'll show you in a new vlog coming this week as well, or being recorded this week. But yeah, not too shabby. But anyway, other than that, sorry for the audio issues, and I'll see you in the next segment here. Right, so we are back now. We're having a post-workout meal, just heating up the chicken, and we have got a protein wrap with some salad, and in said salad we have got cucumbers, not tomatoes because I ran out of tomatoes, cucumber, red onion, jalapenos, lettuce. Boom, job done. And then we've also got a wrap to go alongside that. As you would have known if you've seen my my previous videos, because food is going down, we used to have 2 wraps. We've now just got the 1, which is sad, but it's a necessary part of the process. And as well as that, I haven't had my check-in back from Lewis today yet, but I've got a sneaky suspicion, and in fact, I kind of know we are going to be dropping food down yet again. So I think we're probably going to be going down to around maybe 200 grams of carbs, maybe 175 grams of carbs on a training day. So yeah, that'll put us probably at around the 2,000 calorie mark for a training day, maybe 2,100. And the final push for fat loss will be on. And that's kind of like why we just ran that little bit of a refeed, to freshen up the body, but also prepare for like a big stint of fat loss over the next 2 weeks before the first show. So, you know, we want to be ready, not early, but like ahead of the first show, so that we can then pull back, de-stress the body, remove cardio, reduce down steps, add in a little bit of food, and then have a little bit of a dance on stage. But yeah, just going to put this together now because the chicken has now been heated up. Half into the salad, this one here, eat the salad first, so it helps keep me satiated, and then have the wrap afterwards. And the key here is to not put the chicken straight onto the wrap now. What you do is you keep the chicken in the bowl, because then it keeps it warm, and then it's still warm when it comes to actually having a wrap. Just little systems that you pick up in prep, you know? And then after this, we've got one more meal of the day. It is Saturday right now, so it's a little bit more of a chilled day. But I've got a client set up, a new client start up, Craig, which I'm very, very excited to get him on board. And then, yeah, a little bit more work we're done with steps for the day early, which is quite nice. And then we'll just be getting in that final meal of the day, which I'll show you guys very, very shortly. But yeah, gonna get this food in because post leg day meal hits different. Good evening, people. It is time to get in the last meal of the day. And we have got, oh, are you ready for this? We have got a Sophia Loren pizza with goat cheese, caramelized onion, smoky bacon, and mozzarella on there. Oh, tomato base, nice thin crust as well. And we've even got, as you can see right there, a black truffle mayo to go on the side, just for some like additional fats. I'm joking. This isn't my meal. This is actually Georgia's meal that I am heating up for her in the oven. And it smells absolutely incredible. So we're not going to be having this. Instead, we're going to be having Faye, 250 grams. We've then also got Designer Way in cookies, dark cookies and cream. Oh, beautiful. And then we've finally got some Designer flavor powder in dark cookie crumb. Got that mixed in with some cinnamon, a little bit of salt, and then also, what else? Blueberries. 50 grams of blueberries. Much better than the pizza. I've got to say, this is so much better than that pizza right there. No, I'm joking, but in all fairness, like when it comes to, say for instance, being in a relationship with your partner and they don't have the same goals as you right now, like Georgia has just finished her dieting phase for a photo shoot that I coached her for. She's absolutely smashed it, and now she's got a little more flexibility with nutrition, so she wants a pizza this weekend, and rightly so. But if you are someone that like gives into temptation, or they cannot be surrounded by foods like this without indulging into it, you just cannot resist, then you really need to revise your goals long term and how much they actually mean to you. But also, you just need to practice, man. Like this, you know, I can happily be surrounded by temptation, foods, people eating, go out to a restaurant and not overeat and not give in to temptation purely through years of delayed gratification. I've practiced it over and over and over again. Does everyone have a concrete mindset from day number one? The majority of people know, but when you learn about your goals, learn how important they are to you, and I feel like people's relationships in general with food can be very complex because there's a lot of things that do contribute towards it, but have a goal that you care about, just practice a little bit of delayed gratification, and eventually you will be able to say no to things quite comfortably. I actually enjoy saying no to things like this. I enjoy other people enjoying food around me, and I just get some like kind of like sick satisfaction from it because I know that I could eat it if I wanted to, but is it going to get me closer towards my goals? No, it's not. And when I do eat it eventually, this is probably going to be the first thing that I do have when I'm finished with prep, I'm going to appreciate it so much more. So delayed gratification is always going to be there, but your goals are not always going to be there. I can only get on stage a handful of times every few years, but I can eat pizza every single week if I want to. You know, just think about it that way. But anyway, I'm excited, gonna get this down. This is the last meal of the day. I will catch you in the next video next week, probably, well, yeah, when we're 2 weeks out, when I'm hopefully leaner, more handsome, probably a lot more hungry as well, but that's just the situation given. And other than that, guys, if you enjoyed the video, then I'll catch you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you later.